Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting.
From real estate to real life and everything in between, The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right, we are back. Thanks for coming back every Thursday at 7 o'clock. This is going to be a good show. I know I say that every time, but I got to tell you, this is going to be a really good show. This nice lady came all the way from northern New Jersey or central New Jersey, somewhere in that area. And it was about to snow, and she still came down here, which is amazing. Her name is Nicole Perrone. She is the $1 billion banker.
That's
How
right.
you doing?
Good. I made it here.
Yeah, you did make it here. I feel bad that I made you come all the way down here when it was supposed to snow.
I'm going to get you back. You're going to come to New Jersey.
I would love to do that. That'd be great. I would love to do that. It'd be really fun.
Love that too.
So you're the senior vice president of the production at Cross Country Mortgage. What does that mean?
So essentially, I'm one of the leaders here.
Okay.
I also handle mortgage transactions myself as well. But I have a great team with me here. Work on one of the biggest teams within the company, which is amazing. And we're the #1 distributed retail mortgage lender in the country. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're doing 1 out of every 37 loans, 170 different investors we work with. So as I was telling you before, it's been a lot of fun being here.
Yeah.
And I'm just passionate about leading great loan officers. So
That's cool.
As you've done a great job growing here, I hope to do the same.
Yeah, that's all. Well, you're doing it. You're doing it. So we'll get into the podcast then, because the podcast is really, really good and everything you're doing. The other thing is that you're a TV host on the national television show called American Dream TV. And we know a little bit about that. Hugo and I.
Right.
He used to help out, but we did that show for a little bit. But you're doing it right now. It's with Craig Sewing is the guy that runs the whole thing. He's amazing.
Yes.
You just had him on your podcast, didn't you?
I did. Craig's amazing. American Dream TV is awesome. I was telling you before, just it's a great way to open doors, to create relationships, and to both get some great branding and exposure out of it and highlight some beautiful properties and communities. So
I saw you at the Ritz.
Yes.
Right? You were there. I saw you at the Ritz, which looked amazing.
Oh my gosh. I'll be there tomorrow to host a Brokers Open with the agent there. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Beautiful listing and just a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the Ritz.
The Ritz is definitely, there's the reason they're the Ritz.
Oh, you feel it. It's
Yeah, you do.
they do.
You absolutely do. It's so funny. So let's go into this. So what really caught my attention is I look at a lot of different guests and I'm like, okay, yes, maybe I'll have them on, whatever. And then yours, what really got me was this thing that you call the science of luck.
Yes.
And I've never heard of anybody have that term. Because a lot of times we say luck is not really luck, and a lot of people stay away from the word luck, if you notice that, because they want it to be, oh no, I worked hard, I did this and I did that. There's no such thing as luck. Where did you come up with the science of luck?
Well, so I was asked to do a keynote speech at the 4th annual Women's Conference for the Jersey Shore Chamber of Commerce that we're members of. And I was really honored. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? I'm not going to talk about mortgage products. Nobody wants the realtors don't even want to hear about that. So
nope.
I had to put my thinking cap on, and I was just doing some research, trying to think about what would be a great topic that's kind of all encompassing, both personal and business. And so came up with the science of luck. I can't own the concept, right? There's probably a book title for every kind of way you can say this, the science equation, whatever. But I'm really enjoying going on tour talking about it. The keynote went great.
Yeah.
Everybody was
it caught my attention.
Yeah.
Seriously. I wouldn't have met you if I wouldn't have, I looked at you and I'm like, this person looks like they know what they're talking about. And all of a sudden I'm looking at the caption and I saw the luck thing in there. And that to me was really cool. And it stuck. The luck stuck.
It did. See, you're good.
Look at that. Look at that. All right. No, but it stuck. And now you're traveling around talking more about this, and you're using your podcast. You talk about it.
Yes.
It's becoming something. How about a book? Are you going to write a book?
I would like to do a TED Talk on it. That would be
that'd be great.
That would be a great goal.
Yes.
I did submit. I nominated myself, so we'll
Good
see
for
if
you.
they respond.
Well, if you need references, whether it mean anything, I would say, yeah, she's great.
Amazing. Well, now that I'm on this show, I think they might take
Well, yeah, exactly. Look at that. That's it. That's right. So let's go back into this. A lot of times when I've heard about luck, and I know you kind of talk about this in your talk, was they always said it's when preparation meets opportunity. Mm-hmm. You kind of have that in there too, with like a little twist to it. There was some different things because you were talking about a lucky, making sure what do I need to do today to be luckier tomorrow?
Right.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Preparation and opportunity are a big piece of that, that formula, but it's not enough, just preparation and opportunity, because without that last step, that last piece of the formula, you'll miss the opportunity to create luck in your life.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you follow all the way through with the formula. And it's just one of those things that we have to be doing over and over again in our lives. We all experience setbacks and failures, and sometimes we can follow the formula to a T.
Yeah.
And it doesn't create the luck the first time, but we go through a lot of examples of just some great people that have achieved so much in their lives that have applied it. And so I'm not going to tell you the formula yet, though.
No, you're not going to tell. So I'm like on the edge of my seat here. I'm thinking, does she know she didn't say it yet? I'm like, she's just like kind of baiting us. It's like clickbait here.
Suspense here,
Yeah, geez. So maybe if I use my 8-ball, maybe something will tell me there. I don't know if it's in there, luck or something's in there. I'm not sure. So so the thing that was funny, like I said, with the luckier tomorrow. So there's things that we need to do today. Obviously, preparation's one of them.
Yes.
And I always think, we just talked about this upstairs with Susan. I think a lot of times you have to know opportunity when you see it.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't. And then when they see it, they don't realize it's opportunity, so they don't jump on it. So you can prepare as much as you want in life, but if you're not able to notice an opportunity, you're screwed.
Right. And I think the preparation piece is so important. You're absolutely right, Brad. You have to, opportunity doesn't always come with like these bright flashing signs and signals, and you don't always know it's there. It's about awareness. It's about having broad social networks. It's about putting yourself in the right environment, and it's about having the right mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because when you feel prepared, when you feel confident about what you do, you'll be in environments where you see opportunity everywhere. Right. And so I'm sure everywhere you go now, you see like, who's the next podcast guest, right?
It's exactly right. So true. I look at everything through the lens of, that's a podcast right there. That's a podcast. So it's so true. And that's that reticular activating system, I think is what it's called, right? RAS, I guess what's right.
But you're prepared,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You have this amazing studio. You've 200 and something episodes, so many great reviews. And so you're prepared, you're ready. And that's why you can see that opportunity. You're confident in what the value that your show provides. You're confident in your ability to be a great host. And so that's why you'll see that opportunity all around you. And I'm sure just because you're 6 years in, you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still listening to other people. And so that prepared part, you never stop with that. That's why the formula is so important to constantly be rinsing and repeating.
Oh, there's it. The rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. That was another thing I heard on one of the shows, one of the recordings that you had, whether it was a reel or something like that. I did a lot of, I call it creeping. Like when somebody's coming on my show, I have to like creep on them a little bit. So I just dig in, to find out what's going on. But that's really cool. So let's go into luck as a skill. Is a skill. Luck is a skill.
Yeah, it is.
And I wrote my notes. Wait, what?
Yeah. What?
What?
Is that really
what? Luck is a skill?
Yeah. So if you think about it, right, it's there's a skill developed behind this formula, right?
Yeah.
Preparing, believing in yourself, putting this studio together, whatever the example is, right? So you're prepared, you're great at what you do. Then you start to put yourself in environments where you see the opportunity. So there was this doctor, Dr. Richard Weisman. He conducted a 10-year study. Isn't that funny? Is that his name? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it is Weisman.
Probably.
And so he did a groundbreaking 10-year study on the science of luck. And what he found was that lucky people tend to have broader social networks, and they're more open-minded. And so ultimately, you're putting yourself in these environments, but then the next stage of this formula is bold action. And being able to do preparation, opportunity, bold action, and doing that consistently, there's a lot of skill that's involved there. There's a lot of mindset, motivation, discipline, not getting beat down by failure, right? Because sometimes you can apply that formula like we just said before, and at the end of it, you take that bold action, or maybe you don't take bold action, maybe just take action, right? And you send one follow-up message or one phone call, right? And that's not enough. So it really does require so many skill sets to have the discipline to consistently do that formula. And when you do, you're creating environments where luck can thrive in your life.
Yeah.
It's like, in short, it's the harder you work, the luckier you get. But when you break that, right? Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely. Totally truth. Because It's funny, the more that we've been doing, and I always include Hugo because Hugo's been a part of the show for a very long time now, and we have meetings about what are we going to do next? How do we make it better? Who do we want to get on the show? And it's true. Like the more we do it, the more we get better at it. And the more, I guess you want to say lucky, but there's doors that are opening.
Sure.
I mean, us meeting you is just a different guest and a great guest, and was very excited to have you here. So it's that kind of stuff too, which is really cool. Now, getting back to, what's interesting too, you say, like we said before, okay, so you're prepared. The opportunity comes up. You realize the opportunity, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
That's the part about consistency.
Right.
Right.
And
you can't stop then.
Exactly.
You can't say, oh, I was unlucky. No, you got lucky, but it didn't work out. Not a big deal. Move on.
Right. The more that you're creating that environment where luck can thrive, it's like, you can't go on one listing presentation and then say, oh, I lost it, so now I'm not going to do all those steps that got me there to begin with, right? You're going to go back and do it again.
Yep.
You might have to do it 5 times to win 2 listings.
Yep.
But you keep doing it. And that's where that persistence, that self-belief, that mindset all come into play. And we use the example of J.K. Rowling. It might be a little bit corny, but ultimately 13 publishers before that book became, what it is today.
Could you imagine those people that turned her down?
Yeah.
How they feel?
Unbelievable.
I mean, Disney's got Universal Studios, we were just down there and they have this whole unbelievable
Harry Potter land.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's from one person's imagination.
Yeah.
And it got turned down.
Right. And so, the preparation was writing the book.
Yeah.
Right. And then, then you have to find a publisher. You have to seek out the opportunity, but then that bold action part. Yeah. That's the going to 13 publishers, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's like the Michael Jordan, who missed the most shots in basketball?
Exactly.
One of the best players.
Best
right?
players, yep. Yeah, because and same as look at baseball. Baseball is the same thing. They strike out more than they ever hit.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is, Right.
So you have to kind of get comfortable with failure. You have to embrace it because the closer you're getting to being excellent at what you do and continuing to excel and continuing to create environments where if I just keep doing this, at some point it's going to happen.
Yeah. It's amazing. What I think is amazing, what you said before, that you got asked to do a keynote for an organization. Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, now what do I do?
What the heck
am I doing? What am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? That's a little stressful.
Yeah. You know what? I work well under pressure.
Yeah,
I'm like a commit first, figure it out later. Sometimes is I don't need to come up with, I don't need to know the whole process A through Z. I'm going to figure it out as I go. I'm going to keep doing my research. And so, I think you need to have a plan, but sometimes when you plan too much, that's where dreams go to die. They just never get out of that stage because it's like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. How am I going to do this all?
So true. That's why I don't script the show. Everybody says, well, how do you know what you're going to say? I said, look, and you can see I have bullets. That's it.
Yeah.
And the bullets are there, basically just in case I'm like looking for something to say that the conversation needs another topic, then that's what I look over there for.
Right. But this becomes very conversational. Yeah. I say now it's like the, having coffee. Yeah. What used to be going out to lunch or having coffee or just having a meeting together. Now we have it here and recorded for plenty of people to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is cool. Really cool. So this is interesting. You said that you also now, and you did what you did during COVID when I started a podcast, you started a New Jersey construction.
Yes.
So you have a company that you're part of. And what is it? Are you building homes? Are you doing additions? I mean, what are you doing?
So we're a general contractor. I have a phenomenal partner that's been doing construction for 30 years. He had an established business before we decided to dissolve that and open up a new entity called New Jersey Construction. So, I always say New Jersey's most reliable contractor. Like, what's the problem you're going to solve for people? And so for us, it was, being a reliable contractor.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Someone that answers the phone, that does what they say they're going to do, that fixes mistakes when they happen. I love real estate. I'm a real estate investor. I've been doing mortgage banking for over 15 years. It was like a natural, my father was in the construction business. It was like a kind of a natural thing, but all of these skills, right? So everything transcends, right? Doesn't it? So the same tools and systems that you use to build a great real estate business, you're using to grow an amazing podcast.
Absolutely.
And so it's funny because
it's all that, common.
Yeah. And all that extra time, it was like, what are you going to do with it? Right. What are you going to do with now? Not a lot of people are buying homes during COVID. No one's in the office. It felt like, so your hours went down. So we're really excited. We have 65-star reviews on Google.
Oh, that's
and we're
awesome.
just, we're growing and I absolutely love it. So
now you mostly in New Jersey then doing that, or
Monmouth and Ocean County.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
that's different.
I'm going to get you to drive too. We're going to get you there.
I feel like I'm going to be driving to New Jersey sometime soon.
You are.
But okay, so let's go into You said about possibly a book.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system.
Yes, I'm in talks with a publisher right now, and we're almost at the end of the process. We just went through so it's called the MVP mindset, and it's
awesome.
It's only 10% of people get past the first chapter in a book.
I can only believe that doesn't surprise me because I've been working on one. You're going to for a while, and you're right because it's the same as the podcast. They say like what 7. If you do 7 podcasts, you're beyond the norm. How many have you done?
I think I'm up to like close to 40. Some of them I do on my own now.
That's good.
It's just about mindset or motivation or sales or.
That's awesome. They're good too. They're really good. Let's go back. So the book is called MVP of what?
MVP mindset.
Mindset. Love
having
it.
kind of like a top performer mindset. And so it's actionable steps. I'm going to call it like a booklet because I'm like a Cliff Notes person.
Yeah, same here.
Just get to the point.
Yeah, I'm not reading 200 pages.
Yeah, I don't need a whole story. Like if you're trying to give me a concept, you don't need to tell me about like one day a long time ago there was this guy and this is just tell me
just get to the point.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's very to the point. It's very actionable. It's almost like if you ever go to like a seminar, like a Tony Robbins seminar or something like that, at the end of whatever he's speaking about, he's like, okay, now answer these questions. And what are you going to do next? So it gives you those things to do at the end of every chapter. And so hopefully it's something that can help people. I was telling you before we started a coaching program, which I've been a leader in this business a long time. And as we were talking about before, these things all transcend. So the same things that you need in your life to apply towards anything you do. I take just great reward in helping people reach their full potential. That's why the podcast started.
Yeah. So but with the coaching, let's go back to that. That's a different thing too. Mm-hmm. Do you find that when you're coaching somebody, you're also coaching yourself or learning from it at the same time?
100%.
Yeah.
I think when you're actually speaking something into existence, it helps you to continue to hold yourself accountable to those things too, because you want to lead by example. I had someone on the show the other day that was talking about the power of networking and connecting, right? Yeah. And she was talking about follow-up and how you have to be good with follow-up. And a lot of people leave that on the table. Yep. And as she was talking, I was thinking about all the people I needed to follow up with. Okay. That's good.
That's pretty funny.
I need to do right now.
You're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this right now. I got to follow up. Yeah.
I got back to the office. I'm like, I'm doing it now because it had been, I'll always get to it. You can't do activities and not follow up. Whether it be open houses or brokers opens, whatever you do for a living. That's the bold action part, right? Because that's the bold action part. I'm like, so how am I going to go to a real estate office, do a presentation on the science of luck, talk about bold action, and then not call these agents and say.
They'll be like, she's full of it. Yeah. You got to be authentic.
Exactly.
Got to be authentic. Yeah, it's cool.
And you got to, look, you got to know how to build relationships. They don't just always happen right away, right? It happens over time. And so I think if you approach them authentically and you know how to stay connected, it's a great thing. And I think the science of luck is really hopefully something that can inspire people to take more chances on themselves.
Now, do you bring up science of luck in the book then? Do you bring that up in there or no? So this is a completely different book.
This is I haven't written anything about the science of luck. So, but I would love to, I'm speaking about it in real estate offices, at seminars. It's just going to be a topic we continue to talk about because it's a great way for people to think about, the results of their work and what it can create. And then, because people look at someone that's successful. Oh, look at Brad. How lucky is he? He's got look at this podcast he's got. Look at, he gets all these listings from the podcast. So what a lucky guy. No, Brad was a guy that prepared, that put himself in places where he'd find opportunity and that took bold action. I mean, you're taking bold action to get guests every day and how much you learn from just sitting here.
It's unbelievable. What I learned from actually the research, I usually learn a lot. And then also from being here. And there's things that what happens too is that I'll sit back later on and I'll kind of analyze our conversation and think about what did I get from that? What can I use for the next podcast that makes me better or, makes me better at asking questions or connecting with the guest or whatever. Right. So,
well, you're great at asking questions. And when I think about the audience, right? And we asked that question in the presentation, what what can you do today to be luckier tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's that phone call you need to make? Where's that place you need to go? Who's that person you have to see? Who's that person or that opportunity that you've left on the table? Because research finds that most people, they don't create that environment where luck can thrive because they miss opportunities.
Yeah.
They just don't see them.
Yeah.
They're not, so I use this example in my career where, I was with a large bank institution for almost 13 years. I was a producer, a loan officer, and then I wanted to become a leader. I was really passionate about wanting to grow my career, and I was prepared. But then there was this opportunity that came, and I applied for the position to run my own branch, and I didn't get it. And I was like, okay, all right. So I have to kind of like now take a step back and figure out why. Is maybe there's someone else more prepared than I am. Maybe maybe
that just wasn't the right thing for you.
Right. But I saw the opportunity. So, about overcoming failure, right? This is what this one's about, is like 6 months later, another job posting came up and I went for it again. And that time I got it. And ultimately, by the time I left, I was running the #1 team in the country.
Amazing.
As one of the youngest leaders in Manhattan. And our team did $2.1 billion in fundings in 1 year in 2021.
Oh my gosh.
53 people on my team, 16 bankers.
53 people.
Yeah. It was incredible. It was an incredible time, but it was one of those things like if I didn't go after that next opportunity again, it just wouldn't have been there. So, you have to just believe in yourself. You're going to hit these roadblocks. You're going to fail. Keep going for it and keep preparing. I had to go back to the drawing board and say, how can I be better prepared the next time this opportunity comes? Because I'm still going to go after it. But I need to work on myself in the meantime. And so sometimes you can get feedback from people. Hey, what could I have done different?
Yeah, I always do that. Always do that. I think even to just a listing, if I lose a listing, always do that. And and it's hard because you want to be like freaking out on the person that they pick somebody else. But you have to say, hey, by the way, it would really help my business if you could tell me why you chose the other person. And if it comes from a real sincere, authentic place, they'll want to help you on that. And they'll tell you the truth and they'll say it. But you have to be ready to take that information, swallow and go, okay. You can't go, oh, they don't know what they're talking about or freak out about stuff. You just have to take the information. And that's part of learning. It's part of growing.
Yeah. I was listening to one sales trainer who at that point, if, when you get that kind of objection, you talk to people about, before we kind of move along, like talk to me about why, you kind of can get them back to where you were almost. Like maybe they're not ready to list right now, or maybe it was a friend or family member. One thing you never want to do is make an assumption, right? Yeah. Oh, they must have not wanted me because I was too old. I was too young. I was right. So you got to get back out there. And it's funny because when I did the presentation at a real estate office on the science of luck, that was what someone asked. Like, how do you overcome failure? How do you overcome rejection? Like, you just beat yourself up so much. I mean, I heard the other day, 74% of realtors,
didn't have one deal.
Didn't have one deal.
Yeah, we don't like to put that out there too much. No, I'm just kidding.
Not this office, though, right?
Not this office. No, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right. It is so true. And it's a statistic I actually wanted to bring up when we was on with Pete, but it is very true. And it's a little, but what's amazing about that, when I thought about that number, I thought, oh, well, there's no way that could be correct. We have about 1,200 agents in this county. It's a small county. I'd say probably about 200 or 300 are doing the business.
Wow.
So if you think about it, that's in that 70%, range.
Yeah.
So what's weird for me is how are they making it? How are they making a living?
I mean, it's still been.
If you sell one house, you're doing better than most.
Right. Exactly. Isn't that
which is crazy?
I mean, it's the same thing on the mortgage side of the business too. Right now, it's pretty incredible how degraded the opportunities become. But those people that are excelling, those are the people that are applying that luck formula in their life. They've probably gotten more prepared than ever. How do I prepare for COVID? How do I prepare when we get out of the lowest interest rate environment we've ever been in?
For how long?
That's a totally new skill to develop.
Absolutely.
How do I overcome the objection if I don't want to sell right now because I have a rate of 2% and rates are 7 or 8?
It's hard. It's very hard. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. And we talk about this all the time. I mean, Hugo's shaking his head because a lot of times we talk about this on the show that I do with Pete. And it is hard because they're at 3.5% and they're saying, why would I sell, move to Florida and pay 7%? But there's things in there. There's also, are you going to always let money hold you back from where you want to be?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like you got to be careful. Happiness is something too.
Right.
The other thing is that if you're at 2.5% or 3.5% and you're almost paid off your mortgage, you're going to be paying Uncle Sam more money because you don't have much to write off.
Right.
So there's a lot of things we come out, but it's hard. It's really hard.
And but you had to re-prepare for that. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
You had to kind of re-educate yourself. Well, what are some of the reasons why people would still consider moving? I mean, almost 40% of all people that own homes don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, we talk about that.
Isn't that incredible?
It's amazing. It's the best time ever.
Yeah.
We have more equity right now in our country. It's like $1 trillion in equity.
Yeah.
And that's why when people say, 2008 is going to happen again, I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
We didn't have equity back then. We had no value. And so it's a total, and banks were doing some things that were not good.
I mean, what a great time to think about downsizing, right? So it's like, I think in the beginning of your career, maybe somebody that's out there today that might be feeling discouraged, it's like, it's never like you don't make it, right? It's not like you get to the top of that mountain and like, I'm here. Now I don't have to do anything else. It's like, now you have to stay there.
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
it requires just as much. I always use the example of like a professional athlete. They don't stop practicing once they become a pro. They practice more. Yeah. So, that's why we talk about luck as a skill, because those other 30% of realtors, they're applying that skill, which is creating environments where luck is thriving in their life, and they're getting more listings, more clients.
They're creating it. You're exactly right. You said creating. That's exactly right. They're creating it. And I think a lot of people think it's going to come to them. It doesn't. You have to create it. You have to make it happen. So let's go back I want to talk a little bit more about your the podcast.
Sure.
Like who are you having on there? Like what's the goal there with that? Who are you trying to get?
So, well, I think ultimately the mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential, and it evolves as time goes on. We've kept our audience and our guests extremely diverse in the topics that we've been doing. Isn't it fun always be looking for the next fun
topic? It's awesome.
Topic?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's like,
do you find though that you're starting to get a lot more people asking to be on?
Yes.
And then you get to a point where you're like, all right, I have 10 people that are all going to tell me how they made 10 million in their first 5 years in business or whatever it is. And it gets to a point where those stories are boring.
Yes.
Because this is not boring. This is fun because there's depth to it. But there's a lot of time. How many times we say, I say, I don't need to have anybody on tell me how much money they made in such a short period of time. That doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
It really does, because there's a gazillion of them, that are out there. Yeah. So it's just having those good conversations.
Yeah.
You just had a lady on there that does like wardrobe or something?
Personal stylist.
Yes.
It's Carly Walco. She's she'll completely revamp. I mean, just think about we think about confidence and preparation.
Yes.
I mean, you want to look good, right? And so that's something that a lot of people just aren't that great at, shopping and finding what fits them well. And so she'll come in your house, she'll go through your closet, she'll figure out what works, what doesn't work. And then she'll be your personal, and like, Brad,
she would have a field day with me. She'd be like, you own nothing but plaid.
I think you should get your hair like that again.
Do you notice that I've lost most of that? Yeah. I wish I could get my hair like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's funny.
I love it.
It is funny. But no, that's really interesting.
We try to get people on that we can fully help people, right? So we've had a personal stylist come on who does all your shopping. We had someone come on to talk about the truth about your health, right? You want to optimize your health.
Yes.
You want to optimize how you look so that you can feel better, because in this job specifically, I don't know if you own a business, if you're a realtor, if you're a mortgage person, you need to feel good to show up every day and to have that mindset to get out there and try to win in a tough field. So we've also had some, I'd like to call them celebrities, HGTV celebrities, Love It or List It, Eric Aramita. We had a guy on, John Steingraber, who runs a great real estate investing networking, but he's also on A&E 24-hour flip. He had this incredible idea to flip a home in 24 hours. So he does 2 12-hour days and gets this thing back on
2 12-hour. I was going to say 2 12-hour days. That works. I was thinking 24 hours. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. But even so, that's incredible.
It is. It is really incredible.
Wow, that's an undertaking.
Yeah, but it was a great show. You should check it out. And his story is really powerful. And so we had Craig sewing. I always want to say sewing.
I know. Yeah, because I always ask him, it's sewing? He's like, yes, it's sewing. It's sewing. Yeah.
So people talk about media. They talk about health. We're just giving all kinds of information. And then I'll do just a separate podcast, sometimes just audio only, sometimes video.
I've seen that. I've seen you do the audio only where you'll have some notes and I want to do that. I haven't done that yet. I've talked to him about that, where there's certain things that I write a lot of stuff and there's a lot of stuff that I have on trust and building relationships but I'd like to do it in that format.
Well, we were talking about Ed Milet. He does a ton of
he's
just him, right?
Yeah, he's amazing. He really
he's
is.
just like prophesizing.
And he just talks and you just sit there and you're like, it's unbelievable. He's really amazing. Really is.
Well, it's I love the podcast world. I mean, I think in order to do it, you have to really love listening to them too.
Oh, yeah,
I listen to Mel Robbins a lot. And
she's good.
She's great.
Good. Yeah, I'm listening to her book. I don't read books. I listen to them.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to her book right now. It's really good.
She do a phenomenal job marketing that book. Huh?
And she was at the Keller Williams family reunion last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have another one coming up this year. It's really good. In fact, I'm going to Vegas next week to see that. It's the lady that did the makeup. She's a little heavier, but she does makeup. Yep. I forget Kern. I forget Jamie Lee Kern or something like that. She's amazing too. Mel Robbins and all these guys. What's your favorite podcast to listen to?
Yeah, I think Ed and Mel are at the top of that list.
Same here.
I think but I'm always finding new ones, and they say find maybe 5 or 10 that you like to really listen to, and sometimes you don't listen to the whole thing, but I love sharing them with people. I mean, before I did my own podcast, I was sharing other people's. I was like, Mom, you got to listen to this, right?
I share them a lot. Ed Milet I share all the time.
Now,
Friends.
I do start to notice that when we're talking about the podcast world, I'm developing this little training about how to launch and how to grow a podcast. I don't know if have you heard of school.com with
No.
Alex Hormozy? So there's this whole thing, School, SKOOL. Really interesting.
Look it up.
You can create all these training modules, and there's a whole calendar. You could go live. You create your own little community, and they can subscribe to be a part of it with you.
Oh, that sounds fun.
There's so many people out there that are like lost. I'm like, what do I do? Right? When you think about a problem, how do you solve it?
Yeah.
You have so many agents. How do I do video? How do I edit the video? Who's going to do the photography? Who's going to do the film? How am I going to get a podcast? I don't know what I need. Mics, lighting, all this stuff. So it's a place where someone can go in and say, here's everything I need step by step for creating a podcast.
I love that idea of that.
So we'll talk about that because it's really cool. But check out school.com. It's an app. And there's a lot of, I'm actually subscribed to some other sales trainers that are on there. And so it's really cool. If you're looking for like coaching at an affordable kind of group price.
That's pretty neat. I never heard of that before. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
But I noticed in the podcast world, and probably your audience, maybe they're listening to podcasts, a lot of the ones that are really taking off are getting current events, right?
Yeah.
So part of what I like just the audio only is because you could just throw it on and boom, you're talking about the impact of Trump's executive orders and what it means for housing, right? So we put something together like that, sent it out to 100 agents. Hey, not political, just informative.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And what does it mean? How's this going to impact us? Immediate housing relief, right? That was the EO, right? And increase the supply.
And we need supply. Gosh, do we need supply?
We do.
It's everywhere too.
I blame you guys.
It's hard.
Can you list a house? I mean,
oh my gosh, it's so true. No, nobody wants to move. That's the problem. I mean, it's so funny, and that's the lower interest rate. So I blame you guys.
I know. Yeah, it's our fault.
I'm going to put it back on you. How do you like that?
Well, there are options for that.
Yeah, I know.
We get into the mortgage product talk, but you can get a rate that's in the low 4s if you want to.
Sure, just got to pay for it.
Yeah. There's you could have the seller pay for it too.
Yeah, exactly.
There, back to preparedness. It just kind of try to find ways that you can create solutions for people, and that they don't. In New Jersey, we have a $22,000 down payment assistance program.
Wow!
If you're a first generation homeowner, $15,000. If you're
first generation homeowner. Interesting.
First gen. Yeah, you guys have one in Pennsylvania
we
too.
have PHFA, which I think
PHFA.
is what. Yeah,
it's the same thing. Yeah. It's like I don't know what I think the amount's a little bit less.
But that's because our average sale price is so much lower.
But if you think about it, they haven't thrown more money at first time home buyers than they are today.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just.
And I have buyers that it's been 2 years they haven't found anything. It's crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely
that's the
crazy.
hard part.
It is. It's finding getting the inventory, getting them to find what they like. So it's crazy. But you know what? We have to wrap this up. Believe it or not. You have a question. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. You get your question.
Yes. Thank you. Your first, a no-brainer productivity tip and a no-brainer financial tip for the average person.
Oh, that's a great question. So
he always asks good questions.
What was the first question?
A no-brainer productivity tip.
Productivity tip. So I think that you have to, obviously, and this is not fun for all of us, but you have to get back to the basics on your time management routine. I like to create what I like to call the ideal work week. And you'll look at it and be like, there's no way I'm ever going to do this. This is the perfect world. But I think you should create that perfect week. What does it look like? What are you doing every day? What are you doing once a week? get it all in there and look at it every day. And it's not time management. It's really self-management. It's like, how do I get myself to do something I don't want to do?
And then the feeling when you're done doing it is good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does feel good.
Yeah, it feels
and
good.
you might not hit it every day. You probably won't because it's just ideal. But you want to strive for it. And then as far as financial, I was just saying the other day, I had somebody on the show that wrote a book called The Real Decisions, the financial impact of renting versus owning, because you have a lot of influencers out there today that are saying, oh, this is a renter nation and you should rent, you can be fluid, you work remotely, don't get stuck in one area. Owning's a waste of money, right? They're literally touting. They're all. I'm going to send them to you when I see them.
Yes, please do. That would be a good
I'm
topic
like,
for Pete and I.
That's true.
Invite me and Brad on your show, and we'll tell you why.
Jeez.
But I had someone come on, and he wrote a book. He's very passionate about it. 20 years as a financial advisor. And one of the stats is that on average, someone that owns a home has a 40% higher net worth than someone that rents. And so you can slice and dice the numbers all you want, but home ownership is an incredible way to build wealth. And
no question.
Whether rates are high or low. So I encourage you. I don't think there's one person I know out there that regrets buying their first home.
Nope.
I really
always say jump in. You got to jump in.
You
can't wait. The only market we know is the market we have right now.
Yeah, and
you can predict as much as you want, but we don't know what's going to happen.
100%.
Yeah.
So I just really encourage people. There's a lot of benefits out there right now, and it's a great time, and it's a great way to build wealth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Did you know I was going to say that?
Was that staged? I don't know. It might have been staged. Thanks so much. So how do we find you? Give me all your socials or whatever you want to find you at.
Everything is at $1 Billion Banker. I hope to see you guys soon, and thanks for having me, Brad.
Oh, you're very welcome. So fun. All right, there you have it. Nicole Perrone. I'll tell you what, the $1 Billion Banker, that was just a fun time. And hopefully, maybe when she comes out with her book, she'll come back down. We'll see. The whole driving thing, I think, was a problem. But that's about it. Thanks for coming here every Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll see you next week. All right. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from The Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.